You walk into an Indian restaurant, and the moment the food hits the table, something happens you cannot quite explain. The curry is richer than anything you make at home. The chicken is impossibly tender. The sauce has a depth that feels like it took days. You have followed the recipes and bought the spices, and still, every time, something is missing. Today, that changes. We are counting down 25 cooking tricks that Indian restaurants actually use. The ones professional chefs rely on every service and rarely explain to anyone. We start at number 25 and work our way to the one at the end that genuinely transforms everything. Stay until the last one, because it ties the whole thing together. Let's get into it. Number 25. Bloom your whole spices in fat before anything else. Before a single drop of liquid touches the pan, Indian chefs heat oil or ghee until it shimmers. Then drop in whole spices, cumin seeds, cardamom pods, and dried chilies. That loud sizzle is the fat physically pulling the flavor compounds out of the spices, compounds that water can never fully release. Most people add ground spices straight into a wet sauce and wonder why the flavor sits on top instead of running through the dish. Heat your fat, wait for the shimmer, add your whole spices first, and let them sizzle for 30 seconds. That one habit makes everything that follows taste deeper. Number 24. Use twice as many onions as you think and cook them until they vanish. Authentic restaurant gravies start with an amount of onions that would shock most home cooks, often double what a recipe calls for, cooked far longer, on medium heat, stirring, for 20 to 25 minutes, until they collapse to a fraction of their size and turn deep, golden, and jammy. As they cook, their water evaporates and their sugars caramelize into a sweet, savory paste that becomes the invisible backbone of the sauce. If your curry ever tastes thin or hollow, this is almost always why. You stopped cooking your onions too soon. Number 23. Grate your onions instead of chopping them. When Indian cooks want onions to melt invisibly into a sauce, they do not dice them, they grate them. Grating shatters the cell walls and releases the juice at once, so the onion breaks down in half the time and disappears into the gravy completely. It is perfect for smooth sauces and marinades where chunks would be unwelcome. Grate the onion, drop it into hot ghee, and watch how fast it turns to gold. Number 22. Make fresh ginger garlic paste in a 2-to-1 ratio and cook out the raw smell. Every serious Indian kitchen keeps a container of this at all times. 2 parts ginger to 1 part garlic, blended smooth. The jarred stuff carries a flat, metallic, preservative edge that restaurant cooks will not tolerate, while fresh paste smells sharper and more alive. The crucial part is what you do with it. Add it after your onions are golden and cook it for 2 to 3 minutes until the raw smell disappears and the edges turn faintly golden. Skip that step, and every dish carries a faint taste of raw garlic you will never quite be able to place. Number 21. Fry your base until the oil separates. This is one of the most important visual cues in Indian cooking, and it has a name: bhuna. After your onions, ginger, garlic, and tomatoes cook together, you keep going on medium-high heat, stirring, until you see the oil pool and separate at the edges of the masala. That separation is the signal that the water has cooked off and the base is fully cooked. Add liquid before you see it, and your sauce tastes raw and sharp. Wait for the oil to break free, and your base is ready. Number 20. Add water in small splashes while the base cooks. Here is the trick that lets restaurant cooks push their base further without burning it. As the masala starts to catch on the pan, they add a small splash of water, scrape up everything stuck to the bottom, and keep going. That water lifts all the caramelized flavor back into the base, letting you cook the masala longer and deeper than you ever could dry. A few splashes over the process, and the base develops a richness you cannot rush. Number 19. Bloom red chili powder in oil, not in liquid. Just like whole spices, ground chili powder releases different flavors depending on what you cook it in. Stirred into a wet sauce, it stays harsh and chalky. Added to hot oil for 30 seconds after your aromatics, before any tomato or water, the fat pulls out the oil-soluble compounds and gives you a rounder, deeper flavor and a beautiful color. Always give your chili powder a moment in the fat first. Number 18. Use 2 chilies, one for color and one for heat. Most home cooks reach for a single chili and call it done. Indian chefs layer them. Kashmiri chili gives a brilliant deep red color and mild, fruity warmth, while a regular hot chili brings the actual heat. Used together, you get that vivid restaurant red with a heat you can control, rather than a flat wall of spice. Start with 2 parts Kashmiri to 1 part hot chili, and adjust from there. Number 17. Add a pinch of sugar to balance the acidity. Whenever Indian chefs work with a tomato-heavy sauce, they reach for a small pinch of sugar, not to make it sweet, but to round off the sharp, sour edge of the tomatoes and bring it into balance. About half a teaspoon for a dish serving 4 is enough, and you should never taste sweetness. You will just notice the harsh edge is gone. It is the same quiet fix chefs use if a sauce comes out too acidic. Number 16. Add your acid at the very end, not the beginning. Lemon juice or tamarind added early just cooks off and dulls, leaving only a flat sourness. Indian chefs save their finishing acid for the last minute before serving. A squeeze of fresh lemon at the end stays bright and lively, and it lifts every other flavor in the dish. If you have ever tasted a restaurant curry with a vivid, almost glowing quality, that brightness almost always came from acid added at the very last moment. Number 15. Crush kasuri methi between your palms and add it at the end. This is the most skipped ingredient in home cooking, and it is responsible for the flavor that makes restaurant curry smell like restaurant curry. Kasuri methi is dried fenugreek leaves with a unique, slightly bitter, almost maple-like aroma. Indian chefs crush a pinch between their palms to release the oils, and scatter it in during the final 2 minutes. Add it to any butter chicken, dal, or creamy curry at the end, and you will finally recognize the flavor you have been missing. Number 14. Add your garam masala off the heat. Garam masala is not a spice you cook for long. It is a finishing aroma. Its power lives in volatile compounds that cook away if you simmer them too long. So Indian chefs add a small amount right at the end, often after the pan is off the heat, stirring it through so the aromatics stay alive. Cook it in from the start and it goes flat. Add it at the finish and it blooms across the whole dish. Number 13. Use cashew paste instead of cream for richness. High-end restaurants often reach for blended cashews rather than cream, and it works better than cream in almost every way. Soak raw cashews until soft, then blend with a little water into a smooth paste. Stirred into the sauce in the last 10 minutes. It adds a silky richness and subtle sweetness. And unlike cream, it will not split under heat. It is the secret behind the velvety texture of so many restaurant gravies. Number 12. Use full-fat yogurt at room temperature and add it slowly. Cold yogurt dropped into a hot curry curdles into a grainy mess because the proteins seize when they hit the heat. Indian chefs let full-fat yogurt come to room temperature first, then lower the heat and stir it in a little at a time. The higher fat content stabilizes the proteins, and the gentle incorporation keeps everything smooth. A silky sauce or a broken one comes down to this one detail. Number 11. Turn fried onions into a paste called barista. This is one of the most powerful secret weapons in the Indian kitchen. Thinly slice onions and fry them slowly until deep golden brown and crisp, almost to the edge of burning, then drain and grind them into a paste. That paste carries an intense, sweet, caramelized onion flavor, unlike anything you get from cooking onions normally. Chefs stir spoonfuls into rich curries and biryanis for a depth that is almost impossible to identify, but immediately obvious the moment it is missing, and it thickens the sauce at the same time. Number 10. Finish the dish with a second tadka. You may have tempered spices at the start, but restaurant dishes often get a second. Fresh tempering at the end. Heat a little ghee until almost smoking. Add whole spices and maybe a dry chili. Let them crackle and pour that sizzling fat directly over the finished dish. That dramatic hiss is the aromatics blooming on top of the sauce. Restaurant dal almost always gets this final tadka, and it adds a layer of aroma that cooking spices in from the start simply cannot reach. Number 9. Finish your sauce by mounting it with butter. Here is a trick kitchens all over the world use, and Indian restaurants lean on it constantly. When a dish is cooked and rested, take cold butter, cut into small cubes, and stir it into the hot sauce a piece at a time until it disappears. As the cold fat melts and binds into the liquid, it emulsifies, giving the sauce a silky, glossy sheen. The dish does not taste heavy or oily. It tastes luxurious in a way nothing else replicates. Stir it in cube by cube, off the heat, right before serving. Number 8. Marinate your protein for at least 8 hours. Restaurant kitchens marinate their proteins the day before, while most home cooks give it 30 minutes and wonder why the chicken tastes shallow. A marinade of thick yogurt, ginger garlic paste, lemon, and spices needs hours, not minutes, as the acids slowly break down the surface of the meat and carry flavor deep into the muscle. Marinate before you go to bed, cook it the next evening, and the depth of flavor will surprise you. Number 7. Let yogurt do the tenderizing. The reason tandoori chicken and so many grilled Indian meats are so tender is yogurt. Its lactic acid gently breaks down the proteins on the surface of the meat, tenderizing it without the harsh, mushy effect of stronger acids like vinegar or lemon. It also clings to the meat and builds a beautiful browned crust under high heat. Yogurt is not just a marinade base, it is the tenderizer doing the real work. Number 6, sear your meat before it ever goes in the gravy. Do not drop raw meat into the sauce to slowly poach. That is how you get pale, flavorless protein. Indian chefs develop color and char on the meat first, over high heat, then add it to the gravy. That sear builds a layer of deep, roasted flavor through the Maillard reaction that cannot form inside a wet sauce. Color first, then the gravy, always. Number 5, use bone-in chicken for a deeper gravy. For curries, restaurant cooks reach for bone-in chicken again and again. As the dish simmers, the collagen and marrow in the bones dissolve into the sauce, adding a rich, almost gelatinous body that boneless meat cannot provide. The bones also shield the meat and conduct heat more gently, so it stays juicier. Choose bone-in every time. The difference in the sauce is something you cannot fake with stock. Number 4, cook your chicken twice. This is the secret behind the smoky, charred depth of a great butter chicken. The chicken is not simply simmered in the sauce. It is cooked in 2 stages. First marinated and grilled or seared until the edges catch and char, then finished in the gravy. That first high heat cook builds a layer of roasted, slightly smoky flavor into the meat itself, which bleeds into the sauce as it finishes. 1 cook gives you chicken in sauce. 2 cooks give you the restaurant version. Number 3, char your protein on purpose. Those dark, almost black edges on restaurant tandoori chicken are not a mistake. They are the point. A real tandoor reaches temperatures a home kitchen cannot, but you can get close. After the meat is cooked, put it under a hot broiler until you see genuine char spots, then add it to the sauce. Those charred edges bring a smoky, faintly bitter complexity that balances the sweetness of the gravy in a way no spice ever could. This is not burning, it is caramelization pushed to its limit. Number 2, build everything on a secret base gravy. Here is the single biggest secret behind restaurant Indian food. And once you know it, everything makes sense. Restaurants do not cook each curry from scratch. At the start of every day, they make 1 large batch of a neutral base gravy, a huge quantity of onions with a little tomato, ginger, garlic, and gentle spice, cooked down for hours and blended completely smooth. On its own, it tastes like a mild onion soup, but it becomes the foundation for dozens of different dishes, and it is exactly why a restaurant can serve a rich, deep curry minutes after you order. The groundwork was already done. Make a big batch on a Sunday, freeze it in portions, and any curry you build during the week comes together in 15 minutes on that foundation. Number 1, smoke your curry with the tandoor method. And here it is, the technique that makes a stovetop curry taste like it came out of a tandoor, and it looks like pure magic. It is called tandoor. Take a small piece of natural lump charcoal, and only natural lump charcoal, never chemical briquettes. and heat it over a flame with tongs until it glows red. Set a small metal bowl in the center of your finished curry. Place the glowing coal inside and drizzle a little ghee straight onto it. It erupts in thick, fragrant smoke. Cover the pot with a tight lid at once and let it sit a few minutes while the smoke sinks into the dish. Lift the lid, remove the coal, and your curry now carries a genuine, deep, campfire tandoor smokiness that tastes exactly like the restaurant. It is the closest you will ever get to a tandoor on a home stove. And the moment people taste it, they will not be able to figure out how you did it. And there you have it. 25 cooking tricks that Indian restaurants really use. The techniques behind every impossibly rich, tender, smoky dish you have been served and never managed to recreate. You do not need all of them at once. Start with 3 or 4 this week. Cook your onions twice as long. Wait for the oil to separate. Crush kasuri methi in at the end. And if you are feeling brave, smoke your curry with a glowing coal. Do just those, and your cooking jumps from homemade to restaurant style almost overnight. If this helped you, drop a comment and tell me which trick you are trying first. I read every one. And if you want more deep dives into the secrets behind restaurant cooking, subscribe and stay with me. I will see you in the next one.